Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right. I am John Palacio.
And I'm Marlene Cuellar, and thank you for joining us this morning.
That's right. We're so thankful that you're able to join us this morning and starting your morning right here with us. You know, there's so many things going on across this world. There are a lot of things going on across this world. But I'll tell you what, we need to keep it right here at home because in our country itself, we've got a lot going on. As a matter of fact, we've got a lot to discuss this morning, but primarily what's on the mindset of everybody else is the fact that GOB and the unions went back to the negotiating table. And what came out of it, we're not sure as yet, but definitely we will keep on top of that particular story, Mark.
Yeah. They met until late last night. Apparently, the conversations continue throughout the rest of this week. And we know it's a really important development when the unions go back to the table with government to work out a solution. There are some proposals being made from both sides, and the idea here is to be able to work out a solution that the membership will agree to. That's the tough part here, and I think that's what usually becomes a critical point, because the leaders go to the table with the government representatives, but they must go back to their membership for approval for them to move ahead.
Definitely a part of the democratic process. These leaders are out there, they're doing their negotiating. But the thing is, you know, it's actually the members who are telling them, these are the things that we need to see in place. If we see these things, then this is how we'll feel about it. Yeah. And so therefore, you know, it puts a lot on a lot of people's mind indeed, because what goes on the negotiating table, we don't know. But at the same time, when the message or when the information is dispensed, that's either it's a surprise or it's either, okay, this is how we feel good about it, or we feel bad about it and we need to continue on. The thing, Domar, is that, you know, while we see all these unions out there marching, and it was so many of them yesterday, and from all across the country, what's the true feeling of some of the others? And you know, that's the question that I definitely find looming, for the fact that teachers and some people feel that they might be docked.
Yeah, well, that's a separate issue, and I think it's important to clarify that. I think the CEO in the Ministry of Education has she did an interview last week, I believe, with the news team, where she clarified what is already known, that the management make decisions. The managements of the schools are the ones who make the decision as to whether or not there will be whether or not teachers will be paid for days that they strike. I don't want to go there. That's not something that's out there. I think it's just a fear that teachers have, because the last time they went on an 11-day strike, that was a part of the consequence there. But so far, we've heard no discussions along those lines. Okay. For now, I think the main issue is that the going back to the table, what are the proposals that government can offer, especially given the fact that they have already approved the reduction in the wage bill in the budget. So will there be any attempt to change that? Will there be other proposals put on the table that will allow for the union members across this country? And now we had the Nurses Association out there yesterday. The Public Service Union is out there as well. The teachers have been out there for over a week. And what can they put on the table that will make them feel comfortable in moving ahead? Definitely.
The APSSM, they're out there as well. They're a very small union, but they have said, you know what, we are public servants as well. So they're out there as well. And today is going to be a very interesting day with respect to what the news stories are going to be. I'm sure there'll be a lot to cover. And like we mentioned, we are staying on top of things here so we could share that with you. And that is just a piece of the pie. I think as well, another story that's out there, Mar, is the fact that it's, with respect to the coronavirus, with respect to the coronavirus numbers for yesterday, throughout the weekend, there was only one case that was found throughout the country.
Yeah. No, it is promising. And yesterday we had a conversation with Dr. Quer talking about heat-related illnesses, but he did make a point of noting that that we were extremely concerned of what the effects of the Easter weekend was going to be like. And it turned out that we did see an increase in cases, but the numbers are starting to look promising. But I always say that cautiously, because it is also a situation where we don't want people to believe that everything is fine. The cases that are detected are ones that are detected through contact tracing, or they're detected through people who exhibit symptoms and go in to get tested. Always remember that part of the reason this pandemic has been so incredibly challenging to contain is because there are people who are perfectly healthy who are carrying and spreading the virus, which is why we keep on pushing for all the protocols that we've been doing for over a year. Washing our hands, watching our distance, wearing our masks.
You know, as speaking of washing your hands, I continue to count. I count that 20 to 30 seconds, you know, because that's one of the things it's very important for us to do, to continue adhering to these rules, because that is one of the things, of course, that is actually keeping us safe. What we need to do is to continue to adhere to all the protocols so that we are able to make a breakthrough and life becomes the somewhat normal in our country with respect to tourism, with respect to our lifestyle, what we're so used to doing. Another alarming thing when it comes to the coronavirus, the entire campaign and the entire pandemic, is that some people have gotten their first shot of the vaccine, but at the same time, because of what they felt primarily, they are so afraid to get their second jab, but you need to.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I've met quite a few people who said that to me. Oh, I got such bad side effects, I'm not going to bother with the second one.
No.
And, you know, I'm lucky I didn't get I didn't get side effects at all. I got like the sore arm.
And
that was all I experienced. But I know some people had chills, and they had at least a tough 12 to 24 hours after that first jab. But, you know, my response to them usually is, one, you're not fully protected till you have two. And secondly, it is important to recognize that those symptoms are mild compared to what severe COVID would be like. And the vaccination, that's what it does. It protects you from being able to get severe COVID. So if these symptoms are bad, just imagine, or use that as your motivation to get fully protected, that you don't ever have to have severe COVID.
So again, we appeal to you. I think we're at phase 3, going into phase 4, somewhere around there. If it is that you are in this particular phase, then we want for you to go on out there and get your coronavirus vaccine. It's very important that we do that. I got mine, Marlene got hers, and it was okay. We felt okay. I feel good. I feel good. But one of the things that also alarms me is that, especially my male friends, these, they don't want to go on out. They're afraid of come on, guys. We really need to do this. Actually,
that's a really common fear for men.
Yes. And you know how I feel about it, Marlene.
Yeah. You're braver than most men.
Yes. But that's just a piece of the pie that we've got lined up for you for this morning. As a matter of fact, we've got 3 wonderful segments. We'll tell you about those a little later on. But moving on for this morning, it is that time of the morning whereby we give you some motivation with the eye-opener.
All right. And today's eye-opener, taken from DailyOM.com, goes like this. If you want to meditate but don't, ask yourself why you would put off something so beneficial to your well-being. There are times when we feel the pull to meditate, but are swayed from it by the excuses that spring to mind. We may think that we are too busy, have no time to ourselves, or that we do not have the right place to meditate. Our minds can think of dozens of reasons to put off meditation, but those are even stronger reasons to look past the illusion of the hustle and bustle of daily life and to connect to the place within that intersects with the timeless power and limitless potential of the universe. From that place, we can experience that potent stillness that exists at all times, and it is only as far away as your breath. Finding yourself alone for a few moments can give you the opportunity to turn within, to infuse a sense of calm wisdom to your work. Whenever you can, take the time to recenter and refocus. It will remind you how beneficial it is to connect to your source. Then you will make the time for longer sojourns of spirit, because once you are rejuvenated and enlivened by knowing that you are made of energy and light, you can channel the power to create your life in alignment with the highest potential of your soul.
If you want to meditate but don't, huh? You know, I think, Marlene, I feel that people need to understand exactly what meditation is. Is it time with your mind alone? Is it about thinking about something? Or is it really about not having anything on your mind? You know, and I ask these three questions because people should know exactly what it is. For me, I find meditation to be about a tranquil peace, tranquil and peace, with thinking about something that I like, that I find within my mind to be of happiness, that rejuvenates my body again to instill much needed energy. You know, Marlene, when I find that, it's because I'm probably cooking or I'm probably jogging. And see, I feel happy just thinking about it because that is what I love to do. And I find it to be my mind at rest after a nice meal, thinking about a lot of things, and or just not thinking any at all, or going out there to jog and feeling peace with nature. That to me is tranquility. Yeah. I like this. As you read it, I felt I was smooth.
Yeah. And for the rest of us, we just felt guilty because that opening question was like just a real pang of guilt.
Yeah.
You know something is good for you, but you don't take the time out to do it.
Yeah.
And today's eye opener focuses on meditation. You use the example of your exercise or the things that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
But I think the concept of meditation is one that's really taking root, and a lot of people are venturing into try it out, to see what it feels like, to see how it changes how they feel. We've had so many people who lead meditation, but we've also had quite a few psychologists as well come on and talk about deep breathing exercises and centering yourself and focusing yourself, having that recognition of how important your thoughts are and that you can be able to control what's going on in your mind. It all sounds great. It's just taking that extra push to do it. And there are apps now that make it easier. You could do, there are meditation episodes on Netflix. So in between your Netflix session, you can get
You
it
could
in.
actually get that. That the sentence that stayed with me: finding yourself alone for a few moments can give you the opportunity to turn within to infuse a sense of calm wisdom to your work.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that's a serious question. That's a serious statement there, because it is true. But it's how you find yourself alone. You could actually be, for me, I could be around people and still feel, boom, I'm alone. I'm thinking I've got the sense of just me. That's how I feel. So this is a great eye-opener. And when we provide these things to you, try to make sense of what we say here, because trust me, it will do a lot for your day at least.
All right.
But we need to move on with our show for this morning. It is a time of the morning whereby we take a look at the weather. Yesterday was hot. What is it going to be like today? Our forecaster have got that for us. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
And how are you?
I am okay, and you?
We're feeling A-OK, delicious. We feel good. But what's up with the weather, though? Yesterday was so hot. What can we expect today, the general situation, Michelle?
All right, more heat. We expect the hot and hazy weather conditions to continue during the daytime today.
Okay. And in the 24-hour forecast?
All right. We can expect mostly sunny skies, along with haze and a mixture of smoke as well. Showers and thunderstorms will be isolated and will develop mainly inland this afternoon.
Okay. And the winds?
Winds will be from the east to southeast at 10 to 20 knots with occasional higher gusts.
Wow. I'm seeing around 100 degrees Fahrenheit inland here. Can you tell us about the highs and lows?
All right. Along the coast, we can expect 92 Fahrenheit. Inland, about 100 Fahrenheit. Further west, we could expect a little bit more than that, maybe 102. And up in the hills, about 88 Fahrenheit.
Okay. And tonight's lows?
Tonight, along the coast, we can expect about 80 Fahrenheit. Inland, about 73 Fahrenheit. And up in the hills, about 68 Fahrenheit.
All right. So our extended forecast, I do see we have some advisories and watches and warnings here, but let's get to the extended forecast before we get to those.
All right, sure. For tonight, we expect cloudy spells, a few showers and thunderstorms, mainly south, spreading to the coast early tomorrow morning. And then for tomorrow and tomorrow night, a few showers and isolated thunderstorms can be expected over most areas, but especially over southern areas. They seem to, they will get most of the rainfall for Thursday and Thursday night.
All right, that is some blessings there. But advisories and watches and warnings, can you tell us what we should be looking out for?
All right, we expect a small craft caution, winds. We have a small craft caution rather still in effect, and that is because we expect occasionally gusty winds, but largely in part for northeasterly swells. And in terms of the heat, of course, we advise residents inland, especially, well, over the entire country actually, but especially inland, to stay hydrated and avoid outdoor activity as much as possible.
All right.
Yeah. And what about fire updates?
All right. The fire rate for today remains high, but then we see a change tomorrow and for Friday because of the increase in shower activity.
And that increase in shower activity means it'll be hotter afterwards, we were told?
Yeah, a little reprieve from the extreme heat for today. So tomorrow we expect a slight dip in temperatures, not much because it will be humid, but still not as hot as today the past couple of days, no? Okay. And for Friday, similar to, we see climbing up a little bit, but not as hot as today.
Okay.
All right. Well, Michelle, we want to thank you so very much for joining us this morning and sharing with us what we should expect with the weather. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Well, now we know, we've been warned. It's going to be a very hot day, and we expect for you to be as cool as possible, stay as cool as possible, and to always stay hydrated.
Absolutely.
All right. So we need to move on with our show. We've got 3 segments lined up for you. As a matter of fact, with the first segment, we will be joined by, we'll be having a conversation actually with the National Assembly and Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Representatives will be joining us this morning, and they'll be talking to us about their post-election seminar. That's the first segment.
All right, the second part of our show, we're going to be joined by a transgender person who has made a public complaint that he has not been able to access health care.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be taking this story and putting it into perspective. We have a general practitioner also joining us, talking about how she stepped in to try to help out with the situation and understand more about some of the challenges that transgender people face in the country.
All right. And we'll be taking it a little lighter for you in the third segment. As a matter of fact, we'll be discussing how to create an arrangement of chocolate-covered strawberries for your mom. Yes. Ooh. Looking forward to that conversation as well. I've always seen, I hope I could taste it. I've always wanted to taste that. But we need to take a break. Just before we do, we've got our birthday shout-out. And we would like to say a big, big happy birthday to none other than John Mejia. Happy birthday to you, Johnny. Here is wishing you all the very best from the entire family. And, of course, all of us here at Channel 5 and all of us right here on Open Your Eyes. Happy birthday, John Mejia. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be jumping into our first conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Currently, we're using Smart Elite VoIP calling plan. We use it interbranch, we use it to call outside, and we also use it to call international. It's far cheaper than what we used to have before. Our equipment are new, PBX box is new. So the PBX is very good because I can call to my Sartaneja branch, I can call to my Kikaker branch, I can call to San Pedro branch, and there's no cost using the PBX. Actually right now, since we're in different locations, I can call main office from where I am at a no cost using the PBX system. I would recommend it, sure I would, especially the big enterprises who has a lot of employees. There's a lot of reduction in costs, 50% of saving. But that on a year, it's a lot of money that we're saving. Money that we could return to our members since we give back dividend to our members.
Visit our showroom or call 670-6710 to find out how Smart's corporate plan and PBX systems can benefit your business. Consultation is free.
Hola, Tony.
Hey Kevin, ¿qué onda? ¿Qué pasa?
Nada, le vine a buscar porque necesito comprar más mercancías de vasos y platos desechables para mi tienda de comestible. Me estoy quedando sin esas cosas.
No, hombre, fíjate que desde el 15 de abril no puedo importar nada de eso. Y se me acaba de terminar todo lo que tenía hace como 3 semanas.
Oye, pero nunca has estado sin esas cosas. ¿Qué está pasando?
Mira esto. Esa es la nueva ley que prohíbe todo el uso de plásticos no reutilizables. Esos son vasos, platos, cucharas, tenedores, todo eso. Desde 15 de abril de este año no he podido importar nada de eso. A partir del 15 de enero del 2021 nadie puede fabricarlo. 15 de abril 2021 nadie lo puede vender. Y a partir del 14 de julio del 2021 si alguien te agarra con eso, te multan.
Híjole, no sabía eso. Necesito cambiar algunas cosas. Les diré a mis clientes por qué esas cosas ya no están disponibles. Gracias, Antonio.
Así es, cuídate, man.
Available now at Bravo Motors.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
Today's COVID update is brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Back to Open Your Eyes. We're now moving into our first segment of Fortescue Fulltech Systems. Thank you so very much. We are about to have a conversation on the National Assembly and Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. We've got two reps in with us. As a matter of fact, we've got Valerie Woods, who is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and also Carolyn Trench Sandiford, who is the President of the Senate. Good morning and welcome to both of you.
Good morning to both John and Marlene. It's always a pleasure to be on Open Your Eyes. And Marlene, I want to say how happy I am that you're on Open Your Eyes, because I was having a left the open your eyes as well.
No pressure, right? No pressure.
Well, I'm going to make sure she stays right here with it.
Thank you, John, and I'll hold you to that.
All right. So, you know, I've read over and I've watched the site as well for the National Assembly and Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, and trying to get an understanding of exactly what it is, what it does. And that is exactly where I'd like to start this conversation. What is the CPA? Can you explain to us what this is, National Assembly and Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, and what it does?
Sure. Sure. Morning again, John and Marlene. The Commonwealth Parliamentary Association is exactly as it states. It's the association of all parliaments within the Commonwealth. And it rules and really is to function as a support mechanism and a guiding force, if you will, for members of Parliament. Parliament being both the House of Representatives and the Senate, where two chambers exist. Some do still have unicameral. And what they do is provide various forms of training on various aspects of being a parliamentarian. That's from your roles and responsibility, duty, obligation as a parliamentarian, the do's and don'ts, if you will, in the House, in the Senate, understanding, appreciating standing orders, working with parliamentarians to update, revise standing orders, working with the parliamentary staff in the administration of or various parliaments in the region. And the National Assembly, among many other things, but it really is providing that support. And it also allows a great opportunity for networking and sharing of experiences with other parliamentarians who are grappling, quite frankly, with the same issues in the Senate and in the House. What we're doing today is actually the second day of a 3-day training series with the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association and Belize's National Assembly, House and Senate. And that is an effort that really was made possible through a memorandum of understanding that was signed between the CPA and Belize's National Assembly last year. And that was done under the leadership of the former Speaker of House, Laura Tucker-Longsworth, and the former President of the Senate, Darrell Bradley, at the time. And that MOU sets out, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong here, Carolyn, but it's about six to seven activities. One activity was completed right after the election held in November, and that was the production of a parliamentarian's handbook. It was a first attempt at that in Belize. And so when the new parliamentarians came in, both House and Senate, they were given this handbook, which is just a general introduction on all things Parliament. It's not as comprehensive. It certainly needs a little bit more work, and it's considered a living document. We're now on to number 2 activity, which is this training, and it's entitled aptly Post-Election Seminar Series, intended primarily for first-time parliamentarians, and you know most of our parliamentarians this time around are new, but also for those returning parliamentarians to, one, refresh, do a refresher, if you will, but also to share experiences and to enrich the discussion because of their experiences in Parliament. And there are several other activities after this, this one that's planned, which is includes a code of conduct development. I think we can all agree that it's very timely that we get this done.
Jumping into that one early, Madam Speaker, if I may interrupt. But I did want to get that clarification, because we don't often think of whether or not our parliamentarians are trained, or what type of training goes into their preparation for when they'll participate in either House meetings or Senate meetings. So help us understand that aspect before we move forward.
I think one of the things I wanted to add to what Madam Speaker has said is that this relationship and the memorandum of understanding between the National Assembly and the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association actually came out of a report, an assessment report that was done, and that assessment report identified particular benchmarks for democratic legislature. And so it involve, of course, a number of things, and going back to the activities that Madam Speaker has previously stated, these activities all came out of the fact that the legislature in Belize it was felt that there was a need for these activities to improve our democracy and to improve the role and functionality of the legislature in our governance system. And when we speak of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, it's a number of nations that are amongst the Commonwealth, all having a long history of the same type of governance system, simply by virtue of us having been former colonies of the United Kingdom. And so it's that commonality that we share that strengthens that parliamentary association as to what the legislature can do to function at the highest standard in terms of delivering on its role and responsibility. So I think when we start talking about what we are now doing, I think it's important to understand that there was a assessment that took place, and it was this assessment that identified particular gaps that we felt that it was important to be improved. And as Madam Speaker has indicated, we looked at the assessment report and we felt that it was important for us to continue because if you notice, it spans two governments. And so it was important for us to continue because we felt there was a need for this.
And if I could add to what Madam President said, I have the benefit of having served as a senator appointed by the opposition when that benchmark survey was done. And so I'm particularly pleased to see with a change of government that continues, because from then, really both the opposition and the government at the time they came together and understood that we definitely needed to make some changes. So I'm very glad to see that with the change of government, we have transitioned into continuing implementation of that.
And I think going back, Marlene, if I may just add quickly to what you said earlier, oftentimes the people of Belize see the legislature just within the context of the day.
Yes.
So they would see Madam Speaker presiding over the House a day or two, as in the budget, and they would see myself over the Senate. But the reality it's a whole ecosystem of numerous components. And what the assessment looked at, for example, from issues of remuneration and benefits to professional development, to infrastructure, to the organization of the legislature itself, the committees, the role of government and the opposition, because one of the key things that often comes out is that we tend to have a winners-all system. And so oftentimes it is felt, and I think Madam Speaker can speak to this, being in an opposition role is different from being in a government role. It even looked at the staff, gender issues, and many other issues, from budget and resources, as she said, to code of conduct, to our role within diplomacy, and so on and so forth. So I think within that context, this gives us a great opportunity to begin the process of sharing with the Belizean people as well. Wow. What one would consider the benchmarks of a democratic legislature, what happens in other countries, because as Madam Speaker said, most countries are grappling with some of the same issues. And I think the seminar that we're going through this week, to some extent, exposes our parliamentarians as well to some of these very issues. But as important, it is also sharing some of how you navigate. What are some of the approaches and best practices in terms of navigating? And you spoke earlier, Marlene, about issue of training. Our system is such that there are certain criteria, as you know, for us to offer ourselves to serve, because that is democracy. But there is a role of the legislature. And I think having this post-election seminar immediately after the election, at the start of the parliamentary sessions, for both the senators and the members of the House, so to also broaden their horizon and contributes to their knowledge and awareness, perhaps, of what that true role of being a legislature is all about.
And how do you measure effectiveness of the sessions? Unfortunately, in this country, you know, and it's not unique to Belize, let me be clear. You know, there's more attention paid to the fireworks and the mudslinging and the scandals, and we no longer, I'm not sure what measure we now use to say that was an effective session, whether at the Senate or at the House of Representatives, or even behind the scenes in the committee meetings.
Well, that's a very, very good point. I've always maintained, Marlene, that change will only come at the rate and pace in which society wants it and demands it. But we also have to appreciate that we have to understand rules. If for decades upon decades, that is what we view our parliament to be, as I'll use your term, you know, the mudslinging that you see go on in the House. And it's really, I will admit, primarily in the House. Then that is what society has had ingrained, for the most part, on how it's done, and it will never change. But incrementally, I think over time, it won't happen immediately after the session, but over time you will see it. You know, one has to appreciate, and I think you asked earlier, one wouldn't think that a parliamentarian necessarily need training. None of us has had training in what it means to be a parliamentarian, understanding how you debate, and the parameters in which you're given to debate, because they're clear, they're rules. Let me not say clear, because some of it definitely needs some improvement. But over time, if you were to assess, for example, I would say a year or two from now, how parliamentary discourse has evolved, I think that will be how we measure. It cannot be that we use it as theater or for grandstanding. You can get your solid points across, and you can make some solid counterpoints, but it must be based on facts and not necessarily personal attacks. And that's going to take a while for our own society, because let's be honest with ourselves. Many of us quite enjoy the theater that is on display, and even more because it's live streamed.
Yeah.
Before, it wasn't live streamed, so you heard a third-party account or a journalist report. But now it's there fully in front of you, naked, if you will. And human nature, we like that. And so we too will have to adjust to the fact that, you know, there's a line that's a very delicate balance, because it is about freedom of speech. But there is a line that one has to be very mindful of all the time. Like as I said in the last sitting of the House, I get it. We're not going to Sunday school when we go to our House meeting. It's not a church service. However, it's not a flea market. It's not a pub crawl. It's not a bar fight either.
But it is a platform, isn't it? Because
it is a platform to fully express. Remember, at all times, parliamentarians are first and foremost in that House. They're area representatives.
They're representatives.
First and foremost. And that is the space given to voice their concerns and to express the issues of the day that matters first and foremost to their constituents and the wider public. So it is that platform afforded to them. But what it is not is a platform afforded to them to personally attack persons or to disrespect one another. And that's where the referee role of presiding officers come in, which is just, as Madam President said, really one, perhaps the most important, or the most viewed one role of presiding officers. There's the back of house, if you will, operation that nobody really gets to see, but which both the President and I have quickly had to learn in the last 5 months, from the diplomacy role to the outreach role, to the training role, and facilitating training opportunities for all parliamentarians.
It is a tough spot to be put in. I mean, if you use a sports analogy, you know, how you feel about the ref is based on how your team is performing, and not about the actual rules, right?
Nobody likes the ref. When you're losing, they don't.
Yes. But there's always the gallery, you know, even in the sports world, there's always the gallery who is watching very carefully how that referee is calling. Yeah. And so, to my mind, that is as important. But I think Madam Speaker touched a key point of the fact that the legislature is a representation of the people. That's part of our democracy. And it's very important in terms of the effectiveness as to how people will make that determination. Mm-hmm. And as quite rightly said, with even within the Senate, which is different, of course, from the House in the sense that the Senate itself has evolved, and I believe there is a need for people to become more aware of the role of the Senate within the legislature, and the fact that it has evolved, that the Senate is no longer a rubber stamp, so to speak, because primarily that was how the Senate was viewed. Yeah. So even the debate that takes place in the Senate initially used to be a carryover, so to speak, from the House of Representatives, arguing the points that may have been ventilated in the House. Yeah. Now with the Senate, there is the government side, there is the opposition side, and there's also now social partners and civil society side. And so when you add, for example, the opposition with social partners, you have 7 to 6. So the role then of the leader of government business, to my mind, has been has become even more important in terms of putting forward the legislative agenda of the government side, because he must not only have his or the government membership on board, but you must also be able to convince the social partners to join the government. And I think that sort of evolution has been strengthening our democracy in terms of having diverse voices. The difference also in terms of from the House is that while you are representing area, and so you have a duty and an obligation to bring to the forefront the issues and challenges of your particular constituency. In the Senate, it's a bit different. Civil society is bringing forward the views of their respective groupings, whether it's the union, the church, business, or the NGO community, as well as that of the government and that of the opposition. So I think when we're dealing with the activities of the MOU, I think there's a lot of issues that we have already begun to see from the Senate standpoint, where we have to be able to strengthen our democracy in terms of the reform process that we take through. Yeah. For example, the standing orders of the Senate, which has been there from 1967, did not anticipate the role of social partners.
That's right.
So these are some of the issues why the MOU, I think, to having done the assessment is very timely at the start of a new parliamentary session, for us to be looking at all these areas and to see ways in which we can improve and strengthen our democracy and the role of the legislature in its oversight and scrutiny. Recently, at the recent Senate meeting, for example, we approved, the Senate approved the representation of the Public Accounts Committee, which started in Madam Speaker's chamber, which initially was just a committee that was in one chamber. Now we have a Public Accounts Committee which combines the chambers, so it's a joint committee, but as important, it gives, as far as I know, Madam Speaker, it has 9 membership, of which 3 comes from the Senate, and it was specific that it was the social partners. 2 come from the opposition in the House, and 4 comes from the House of Representatives. That in itself is saying to the Belizean people that as we journey in the legislature and as we evolve, the role of the legislature in terms of its scrutiny and oversight has to become one that is important and critically placed within our governance system if we are not going to be 10 years from now at the same place talking about too thief and too corrupt, and where we can elevate the conversation. Now, I have to agree with Madam Speaker to say that it is also, you have to always have the, what you call the little entertainment.
The theatrics.
And yes, and the theater and the drama and the pageantry, because that also makes it exciting. And to go back to your analogy, Marlene, in a sports world, nobody wants to see a game that is boring. You want to see an exciting game. That's what attracts people to the activity. You want this excitement, and you're watching the referee very carefully to see, like in basketball, if the ball really gone on the edge, if it may out, you know, for if the referee calls foul, whatever. You're watching all that. And I think that's the role that Madam Speaker and I have, that we're navigating to ensure that the Belizean people is appreciative of the role. And I think they work with the CPA and the work that we're also doing together, because it's cross-party. We have representation from within this,
from every
exactly, from the House, from the government,
we saw some
from
images
the opposition.
we saw some images of the Zoom that was on the National Assembly page, where you have opposition House members and senators, and you have the civil society represented. But let's go back to, you're looking at professional development, and that is a critical part for the individual players, but the system itself, as I know, has been identified repeatedly by presiding officers, that it is outdated. You know, the rules, put it that way, were compiled at a time where everything was different, not to mention the fact that it's broadcast on the internet for every person to see and to catch every detail of what takes place. What is the plan to be able to update and modernize the standing orders so that you can have more trained parliamentarians, but also have a system where they can also be more effective?
Certainly the standing orders, well, let's also put in perspective too, that the actual National Assembly building is also outdated. So when we talk about ecosystem and infrastructure, it's the entire gamut of that, right? Even the access to information, Marlene and John, is outdated. And I'm talking in terms of the building itself, not to digress too much, but in terms of the building itself, it's not just that it was a building built for 18 men when it was built. And we're now at 31 plus parliamentary staff. It's the fact that it did not.
And women.
Wait, isn't there a story that the National Assembly didn't have a female bathroom behind the scenes for members?
Yes, correct. And even the current bathrooms leave much to be desired. And then there's also, let's not forget, the Assembly must also cater to the public galleries and the media. And so services to them also are lacking.
And the persons with disability as well.
Right,
let us be mindful for it to be inclusive.
To say that it's not an inclusive system. So that's on the agenda. It's a high-hanging fruit that one that has to work towards. But I can certainly tell you that both the President and I have hit the ground running in establishing it needs to be addressed. We're already looking at conceptual drawings and to see how and where and how much of it can be accomplished in this Parliament session. In addition to that, the safeguarding of the record management leaves much to be desired. There's documents there that date back as far back as 1886, for example. That is one disaster away from being destroyed. And there's several other documents. So there's also the effort and the recognition that we need to do much better at digitizing and ensuring that we safeguard these historical records. But back to standing orders specifically, everything one has to remind themselves that whatever changes are to come about in both House and Senate must come with full buy-in and recommendation to the floor by the members.
Yeah.
So the standing orders revision, modernization of it, revising of it, updating it, which dates back to 1966 in the case of the House, have to have a working committee for the House Senate for the House standing orders, which is slightly different but not too different from the standing orders for the Senate. So this there will be working committees of both chambers making recommendations, and that will go over a series of meetings with a joint working group, or we may decide it may need to be separate working groups because of the fact that the Senate has its own standing orders and the House, for example. We're not there yet. Yeah. And then after a draft has been developed, one that is sufficiently, we feel, meaning the working group feels it would be accepted, then that has to then be presented to the respective committees that deal with standing orders. And then once those have been looked at and there's agreement that we can maybe go forward, then you present it. It presents itself as a motion in the House to be amended. So it's a process that has to start first with one, agreeing, accepting the standing orders is outdated, need revision, and I think for the most part we've all accepted that. Yes. And two, to then establish the joint a working group among the members themselves to begin to put in place some of what those proposed revisions would be. And let me say this, it's not reinventing the wheel. In the Commonwealth, many of our assemblies are going through the exact same experiences with standing orders. Trinidad and Tobago, for example, their most recent revision dates back to 2015. So they're a bit more advanced with us in both their standing orders for the House and the Senate. Their standing orders for the Senate has had several revisions, in fact, more so than the House. And I believe their most recent one, if I'm not mistaken, for the Senate dates back to 2016. So they have advanced the effort that we are currently going through. And that's just standing orders. There's also an effort on the way right now. Carolyn and I have initiated that as one of the activities under the MOU, which is the Code of Conduct, to develop a draft Code of Conduct for the Parliament. And so we've established a joint working group, which has to go through the similar process. These are members from both the government and opposition and the Senate and their representation to come up with a set of draft guidelines for Code of Conduct. And then we have to go through that process, which will be many weeks of virtual sessions with the working group before we present it to the wider group and hopefully for adoption. I would like to be optimistic and say later this year, but the test will always be when members have to see what they will have to abide by, and it may delay, right? But
and ensuring they change their behavior, because that's
absolutely.
But you know, I've always said, because I hear the stories all the time of people saying, well, you know, they're going to sanitize it, and in this country they throw shoes, and in this country they do this, and I hear all of that. But you know, I also say, and I heard once that a good orator can tell you to go to hell, and you want to go. So it's you can still have a great dialogue.
You know, the beauty of appreciating our language, English language, but also our local languages. There is the rule of the Parliament that the official language is English. However, as I've stated publicly in the House, by no means will I limit that you absolutely cannot go into the Creole language or even the Maya or the Spanish or the Garifuna, but it cannot be that your discourse, your debate, your contribution is in that language. The official language is English. But if you want to stress a point and emphasize the point, I am obviously not only Creole girl's sister, but I appreciate that I get my point across better when I put it in the Creole language, right? But in Parliament dealing with legislation, you cannot do that. You may want to emphasize a singular point, and all I ask is when you do so, you also explain what you mean. Because remember, the back of house, you have persons transcribing and will have to then go back and figure out for the official record, the Hansard, what did this member mean by that? So there's a reason why it is stated like that, but that also brings that element of flair and entertainment, but it has to be monitored. And that's the little job that Madam President and I have to.
I must say that
the reality is that language is colorful.
Yes, it is.
Creole language is colorful, and I think those are the little things that often are the catchy slogans that people remember. Because if you really speak to people about House meetings or Senate meetings, they would normally refer to that particular slogan. I think the last one I keep hearing is something about something who do it, who walk in it.
Yeah.
At least my understanding of that. I think was
one of the popular ones was, "Now watch me, watch yourself."
Right?
Ask me, ask your pa. And only a Creole person can appreciate.
Would understand. And we are in Belize, and I think it's also important for democracy, because democracy is about being inclusive.
That's right.
And for all persons. And I think that is important. I want to mention, though, that one of the differences, I think, also between the House and the Senate, which I must mention, is that the Senate has 4 committees, sessional committees. So we do have a standing order committee, a House committee, a committee of privileges, and a regulations committee. And at one of our recent Senate meetings, we have appointed membership to that committee. So one of the things that we have been doing in terms of the memorandum of understanding with the CPA is to see where synergies can be created so that we can achieve some of the things which we had set out to do. Our standing order committee includes Senator Michael Perry-Feet, Senator Osmani Salas, and Senator Colette Montejo. So you see it has one from the government, one from the opposition, and one from social partners. And so we already, in other words, we're a little bit ahead of the game in that we have already formed our committee. So we are now merging that with one activity of the MOU, which is the standing orders reform. And so it is within this committee that we will now start talking about how is it that the standing orders can be modernized. One thing, Madam Speaker, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, Madam Speaker, but the whole issue of having meetings virtually. You know, that yes, COVID-19 forced us to do many things, but the reality is that virtual meetings are initially, all meetings had to be face-to-face at the National Assembly. That is one form of modernization that has already started to take place. So clearly, we have a lot of areas that we wish, whether it's the physical infrastructure, whether it's the conduct, whether it's the standing orders, the processes and procedures. And I think this is what being part of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association is very important and very critical, because what it does is for us to see what's happening in other parliaments, what they're doing, what are best practices. In fact, one thing that came out of our meeting on Monday is the whole role of private member bills. Which is something that has not necessarily been an area of practice within our parliaments. Our bills have been focused primarily, I think we've only had, I understand, 2 or 3 cases of private member bills passing coming from the government side. But there is a provision for private member bills. It's just that we have not utilized it. And exactly. So I think even this process allows us to outreach to the Belizean people, to create awareness of really what the standing orders does and what are these processes and procedures. And yes, there is entertainment, and we do love the theater and the pageantry and the drama. Even I, sitting as president, I'm sitting there sometimes and I would want to crack up on something, because I am like, okay, but that's what it is. But the important thing is for the Belizean people to get a little bit more into what the House is all about, and to also know, and I have to go back to this, Marlene and John, because we have talked about it all the time, how we can elevate the conversation, the dialogue, the merit and demerits of the bill, ensure that people understand these bills and the impact that it is going to have on their lives. That is something that is very important, and that we move away from everybody thief and everybody corrupt to the point where, yes, the entertainment is good, but that the debate and the dialogue is rich. And I think the more the Belizean people are knowledgeable, because knowledge and information, you spoke about how we monitor whether something is effective. The more we share the role of Parliament and its oversight and scrutiny role in our governance system, I think the more the Belizean people will understand and appreciate, you know, this why there's a distinction between the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. And that key role that the legislature being lawmakers, and its key role has been oversight and scrutiny as to the work of the government. I think that needs to be elevated.
All right, so Madam President.
I just wanted to say that transparency in all of it will help to get the public more engaged. When you have committee meetings, and I've attended a few as citizen, Valerie, when you have committee meetings that nobody really knows when they're happening or they're closed to the public, it really doesn't give the wider society a sense of new rules or laws that are about or could possibly go into place that impacts their lives. So the more we make that public as a parliament, the better people will get engaged, the more, even if the commentary comes on the Facebook streaming, even if the commentary comes by way of email, everything doesn't really have to be in person, but it will strengthen the democracy and it will elevate the discussion so that people, quite frankly, can look up to being a member of the House, not for the theatrics, but for the impact and positive impact that can be created in people's lives. So I'm optimistic.
So Madam President and Madam Speaker, you guys have actually put clarity to exactly what goes on. But I just want to take 1 minute to any of you to explain what you expect to come out of today's seminar.
Today's actually seminar is I think it's probably going to get more engagement, because the first session is going to be about standing orders and the need to revise it, modernize it. Second session is going to be about code of conduct, ethics, and standards. And the third session will be about the parliamentary committees and how those should be governed, or what should go on in those, which for the most part, as of today, is still closed for the most part. So that's going to be interesting. And there's a final session geared towards women presiding officers, which is open to just the two of us, the President and the Speaker of the House. And that's, quite frankly, we still have a long way to go in the Commonwealth in gender equality in that regard. There are very few women presiding officers. So for the few of us, we get to navigate some of the issues that are common to all of us as women presiding officers. So today, I'm actually looking forward to today, because it's going to be interesting.
And how have our representatives been participating, or Senate and House members? Have they been showing up to their professional development courses?
Yes, I'll be frank, I'm disappointed on the numbers on the House side for Monday, but I have been assured that today and Friday there'll be more. The one good thing with virtual is not all of the sessions may necessarily be accessed by all of the persons attending all at the same time, but they can choose which of the sessions they would like to get a little bit more feedback. And please don't let us walk away thinking that after this week, that's it. What this has done is we're already getting a sense from the members who attended on Monday, areas that they really need more information on. And so we can build on that for future sessions. And thanks to COVID, whereas before you may have to select 2 or 3 or 4 reps virtually, almost all parliamentarians can attend a virtual session.
Or at least listen in if they're still working.
Let me say also that from the Senate standpoint, we've had 8 of our 13 senators represented at the sessions. So that has been, to my mind, more than 50%. And so
Yeah.
that is excellent representation. And one of the presenters at our session was the Honorable Aldo Salazar. He did a presentation on opportunities and challenges of being a parliamentarian. And I felt it was important that we have representation from someone who has been on both sides, being in a position as well as being on the governance side, to understand the opportunities and challenges. So I want to thank the senators, of course, and all parliamentarians. And certainly I'm hoping that we will see an increase representation from the Senate over the next 2 days.
I certainly will. And on the House side, Honorable Oscar Kenya did the presentation on opportunities and challenges. He's been a 4-time parliamentarian, but most of it in opposition. Now he's on the government side. And he spoke to the experience from both perspectives. Having served in the Senate as a senator appointed by the opposition, and now in the neutral chair, which I still have to, that itches me, right? Because there's interesting debate and I just cannot contribute to it. Yeah. But in the neutral chair of being the speaker, I do think that it is so timely that this is happening now when there's a change of government. Because if I contributed to which several did, as an opposition member, to the need for change and to fill the gaps. Now you're in a position for those who are on the government side to put into action what you would have liked to have seen when you're an opposition member. So I think it's an excellent opportunity, and I thought Honorable Oscar Kenya brought that home in terms of the challenges he experienced. As the chair, I have to remind myself all the time that, listen, as a referee now, a good basketball game, when you make the call that suits your side, everybody loves you. Yeah. When you make the call that maybe plays to the other side, well, your side not necessarily like you again, right? I get that. But my guiding principle is always going to be the role of that chair. It has to be impartial. And having stuck on the other side as opposition in Senate, I appreciate now more than ever why that chair must be neutral.
All right. Well, Madam President and Madam Speaker, this is where the House do now adjourn.
I love it.
Because we said so.
The eyes do have it at this time.
The eyes have it. Thank you, both of you, for
You're
putting
welcome.
into context and clarity exactly what goes on at that level. Thank you. And here's to wishing both of you all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
We're about to take a break. When we come back, we'll be discussing healthcare treatment for transgenders in Belize. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This COVID update was brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service. Working off-site doesn't mean you have to be off your game. Studies have shown that simply adding a keyboard and mouse to your laptop increases productivity by 26%. Add a monitor, and you'll be 35% more productive. At Fulltech Systems, we have what you need to enhance your remote work or e-learning experience. With devices such as headsets, video conferencing monitors, webcams, keyboards, mice, docking stations, all with the brands you trust. Keep connected with collaboration tools like Microsoft 365 Suite and Kaspersky and perform efficiently no matter where you are. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
In these challenging times, the one thing that is certain is that the Belize Bank Limited is here for you. There is nothing more important than your health and safety, and we continue to make every effort to make banking safer for you, Our staff is working around the clock to make sure you can do your banking conveniently 24/7 using our mobile banking app and online banking and keeping ATMs up and running. We value your relationship with us and are here to provide the support you need. First responders are also out there 24/7. Thank you, healthcare workers, security forces, firefighters, caregivers. You are all appreciated. Stay safe. We will get through this together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
My name is Gerald Jones, a member of the Belize Police Department, and I believe that violence is never acceptable or excusable. We must make an effort to stop it. There is no excuses to violence.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Andrea Polanco, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes. Go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Because news is now everywhere, all the time. And so are we.
Passengers traveling to the U.S. must present a negative COVID test or a documentation of having recovered from COVID-19 to travel to the U.S. In light of this, Maya, in partnership with Caring Hands Clinic, have established testing centers in all their municipal airports. Caring Hands Antigen Test Center is operational in San Pedro, Belize City, Dangriga, Placencia, and Hopkins. These testing facilities are staffed by licensed healthcare professionals, including doctors, registered nurses, and nurse practitioners. Testing is done using Abbott Rapid Test devices that are FDA approved and made in the USA. The service is safe, fast, affordable, and the close proximity of the centers makes them convenient. Walk-ins are welcomed, but appointments are encouraged. If you would like to make an appointment, please feel free to do so at Make your appointment, get tested, and in 15 minutes, you can get back to your vacation.
It's a fact that with Smart, you get truly unlimited everything. Only with Smart, you get unlimited data anytime, while with the other guy, it's only double data on weekends. With unlimited data every day with Smart, there's no need to wait. So, it's a fact that our unlimited plans beat the competition. Stop being measured and told when to use your data and get unlimited talk, text, and data. Experience the true unlimited plans with Smart. That's a fact. Make the switch and live smart.
Just like that, we are back. And we're now venturing off into our second segment for the morning. Now, this one is geared towards healthcare treatment for transgender in Belize. Now, in with us, we've got Star Reyes, who is a transgendered man. And we also have Dr. Shana Pott, who is a general practitioner at Belize Healthcare Partners. I'd like to wish both of you a very, very welcome. Good morning and welcome to OIE.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So, having read over and watching the video, Star, exactly, I'd like to start with you first. Very, very touching story. And that's exactly where we'd want to start. Tell us your story.
Well, you know, I was born like any other baby, normal, natural birth, but I was born in a female body. And growing up for me, it was very difficult and challenging because I didn't quite understand how my body and my mind did not connect. As a child, I knew that I wanted more. I leaned into more male stuff, male activities, male clothing, the behaviors, and it was quite a challenge growing up in a home that is not accepting or welcoming, and then into a society that is not, it's the same, not accepting. And you know, accessing gender affirming care in Belize has been quite a challenge. I was also seeking a doctor that could at least administer my hormones so I don't have to self-medicate. Because in the transgender community, self-medicating is one of the leading issues, health issues within the transgender community.
Interesting. Yeah. So if you have to get hormone shots, people are doing it for themselves?
Yes, it's a very serious touch.
Okay. Now, let's just backtrack for a minute and acknowledge that this is a young conversation for Belize. People are only starting, especially locally. We know internationally there are different movements taking place, but we don't talk as openly about the transgenders who are living in this country and do have their own vulnerabilities and challenges in being able to live a normal life. For you, what district were you in? And even making your transition, what has that been like?
Well, I can tell you that starting my transition, thanks to Dr. Pot and also fellow doctor friends of mine in New Jersey that has been guiding us. It's been something that I never imagined having lived my true, authentic life. And that's just a blessing on its own. But there are other aspects of me as a human, not as a transgender person, but as a human, that I would like people to, I don't know, maybe give me an opportunity to know me. And it often happens that there's this irrational fear, and I call it an irrational fear towards the transgender community or the LGBT plus community, because we're just people trying to live our lives, trying to get a job, trying to get an education, trying to get a degree, take care of our families. We have families, we have people that depend on us. We pay taxes. So, you know, we're not aliens, we're not out of this world, we're just people that want to live with dignity and respect. And one of the things that I can tell you is what is an irrational fear, and I always have to talk about it. It's because I'm 4'10" in height. I am not a threat. How can I be a threat to you? I'm not walking around with an AK-47. You know, I'm just living my daily life, going to the supermarket, getting my stuff, go I don't know, go to the clinic. Passing a checkpoint has been one of my most I can't even explain how frustrating it is to pass the checkpoint every day and being questioned, is this you on the ID? And then I would be a mock to the police officers. They would call the other officer and say, hey, come here, look. It doesn't look like, it says she, but look at him. And, you know, they would discriminate. And because they have this level of this power, they become bullies. And, you know, I've stood my grounds many times. They've even questioned, police officers would say, well, show me your security, social security. And I would say, you saw my driver's license. Isn't that enough? Would you ask a cis person for their social security? And then the question, so what do you have between your legs? I don't think you need to question my genitals.
What? Yeah.
Is that tough?
You know, I'm sorry that this is something you have to experience in 2021 in this country, but it does show where there is a need for more understanding and education to take place. I want to ask you, just as a trans man and as a trans activist, how are you getting your message out, and what has been the response?
Visibility.
Yeah.
I have realized that within the region, the Caribbean region, because I'm also a trans activist within the Caribbean region, I realized that there's more of a talk about trans women, and the movement of trans women is really strong. But you don't hear that many trans men out there. And it's because of the lack of visibility. And this platform right now is how I get my message across. Yeah. And also, when people make assumptions about me, for example, if I go to the bank teller, I constantly need to explain my medical information. Why do I need to disclose that to the police officers? If I apply for a job, it's the same thing. And so I try to explain to people and try to educate them. You know, if they would misgender me, I'd say, no, it's okay. I'm actually a trans man and my pronouns are he, him. And then they would be like, oh, okay, nice. And, you know, people would say, well, how come you're not angry about it? And I say, what do I gain with being angry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've already fought, and you know, one of the things with our community is that we fight within each other. There's so much anger within us because we're fighting against each other. We're fighting against our family. We're fighting to come out. Then we go into this real world, the society that doesn't accept us, that doesn't see us, that just uses us. And, you know, so we're angry all the time. And so for me to be angry and not being able to educate you, that's just a moment of educating you, just disappearing. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So I try to be as compassionate as and sympathize, and I just wish that people could give me the opportunity to speak to them and explain to them who I am as a person.
Star, you did mention that you're an activist within the region. What is the utterance from your counterparts within the region, the people that you talk to, the people that you know, that live elsewhere? Are they feeling the same thing as you are, being that you're here?
There's a lot of violence.
Yeah.
A lot of violence.
So it's worse elsewhere?
Yes, we're talking about Guyana, Trinidad, Dominican Republic. We're talking about Cuba. We're talking about Cayman Islands, Jamaica, all these places, Guatemala. And, you know, one of the things that brings us together is the need for gender recognition legislation. Because just having that ID okay, so for example, in Belize, like many other countries, Caribbean countries, because we share the same legislation and stuff, you are able to change your name, but not change your gender marker. And that's where the problem comes. That's the leverage that people use to discriminate against us. So
that's interesting.
Having that gender marker change would be the beginning for the trans community to live a normal life.
Yeah. How else has discrimination, what are some of the other places that you see discrimination? I know you went to Facebook recently to document your challenges with accessing adequate health care. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah.
For 4 years now, 4 years in 2020, sorry. I was trying to find a doctor, and I spoke to so many doctors. I explained to them what I want to do, gender affirming care, and they said, no, it goes against my religious values, or, you know, so a very, very, very well-known doctor even compared me to HIV. He said, you know, back when I was in school and HIV came out, nobody wanted to touch HIV. You people are just like that. And I was like, excuse me? and he's a very well-known doctor, and I was like so shocked. But one day I posted a very sarcastic post on Facebook, and I put a veterinary use syringe, and I said, when I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, because I'm gonna do it, something like that. And I saw people saying, hi, congratulations, and I was like, are these people not reading? The label on the package said, for veterinary use only. Yeah. And it was a joke, but you know, when I think of it, it's not, because a lot of people go to the extent of self-medicating with anything. Even in the black market, there's hormones that can do severe damage to your liver, severe damage to your body organs. And that day, Dr. Pot reached out to me and said, Star, who's administering your hormones? And I said, no one, because I haven't started, and I'm not gonna start on my own, because it's scary. And so ever since then, I've been guided by Dr. Pot and my other friends in New Jersey for 5 months now, with going into my transition.
Yeah, I see the smile.
Dr. Pot. Yeah.
Dr. Pot, we need you in here now. Tell us about that connection.
Well, Star said something very important. You know, I've been here listening, and it's not the first time that I'm hearing his story, of course. And it truly saddens me that he's had these experiences, you know. So I see Star and everybody else as a person, as a human being who is in need of healthcare, just like everybody else. You know, and so when Star shared with me what this well-known physician said to him, and that stigma against HIV patients, unfortunately, still exists to some extent. And the trans community is something that's new as well. So I guess there's a fear of it, and some people just choose not to involve themselves with it, but there's no need for that level of discrimination and tone that comes with them rejecting this community, you know. So I just believe that everybody deserves healthcare, and it's a scary thing. When I saw that, I was like, what is going on here? You know, and I don't know what the future holds, and we have to pave a way for our children and their children after them. And it's not something that I would want to see my child go through, or any of, you know, anybody that I love or care for. So, of course, I reached out to Star, and he got me in touch with Dr. Dana Delgado in New Jersey. Delgado, is that the name, Star?
Yes.
Anyway,
yes.
So I got all this material and started reading and educating myself on, you know, the transition and what they may go through, and also the psychological part of it. That's very important, you know. And there was like the background of this abuse and rejection from your own family, and those are things that are necessary to factor in, because then all that abuse, and it leads to, you know, drug abuse and all these things that come with it. And Star even told me before that, you know, I don't know if he was trying to make me feel good, but he's like, you really saved me from a road of just drugs and depression. And so I'm glad that I was able to help.
So from what I understand, it's not necessarily specialized care, like there's a specialist that's needed. It's an openness by the healthcare professionals. Is that right?
I believe so, because it's new. There's no, I mean, I received the material from somebody who has way more experience than I do, because this is so new in Belize. We hardly hear of it, you know. And so I had to do all my reading, all my study. And medicine is forever evolving, so that's nothing new. You know, you want to be up to date. If you're a doctor, you're never done studying. So, of course, I had to go through all this before I was able to help him. but yes, you have to be open to it. It's not, you know, it just like HIV, anything that you choose to, you have to be open. These are people. They're
Yeah.
people just like you and me,
Yeah.
and they deserve equal right to health care.
Dr. Pot, I could hear the compassion in your voice of how compassionate you are, especially with respect to what Star is going through. Are other people reaching out to you feeling the same way?
Not as much. I guess some people still have reservations, and healthcare can also be quite expensive. The hormones are expensive, all these things, and so I know that, like Star expressed to me, a lot of people in the trans community, you know, what they went through in their households. A lot of them are not even educated or have proper jobs, or so they might feel some sort of reservation in terms of seeking, you know, healthcare at a private institution or things like that. But I mean, I'm open to helping who I can help.
Yeah. Star, bring it back to explaining what the community experience is. You made a very clear note of saying that you are, I think, the first openly trans man in Belize. And we've had trans women who also speak out as well. How big is the trans community in Belize, and how many are actively engaged with the organization that you're a part of?
Well, I can't really give you a number out there, but I can tell you that I know a couple of people that have been going through the similar struggle like I have. I know of this great organization here in Belize that has been assisting the community for quite a few number of years, and that's called Tia Belize, and that's led by one of my colleagues, Zania Kanol, and she has also paved the way for a lot of people, including myself, to live my life. But what I can say to the community out there, and to anyone that is willing to support us in any way possible, whether it be just talking to us or learning about us, educating themselves basically, or donating to the community, to the cause, is we need support system. Most of us have been abused for a number of years by our family members, the people that are supposed to take care of us. I have experienced that. I have experienced homelessness and drug addiction and alcohol abuse and overdoses. And it's not a good feeling to be a kid, a 16-year-old kid living in the park and not having anyone to lean on. And I could just imagine that there are a lot of other kids, LGBT plus kids out there experiencing the same thing or maybe worse. And I just like to tell people that if you're going to support the trans community, please support a trans-led community organization. And just support system is one of the biggest, how can I say it? It's one of the biggest support that we need. Like people to talk to, because we don't have family members. So we choose our family. And for us to be out there on our own and going through all this discrimination without our parents or siblings or uncles, whatever. I mean, for you to talk to me today, you're saving me from a lot of things, a lot of damage to my health, to my body, to my mind. Suicide, we have high levels of suicide within the region, and alcohol abuse. And so for me, it's very important to talk to people, especially the youths.
Since you have come out so openly as an activist, and we also have your commercials from Live and Let Live. You know, we see your story being shared, your friends speaking out on your behalf. Have you seen a shift?
I have received messages from a lot of people. A lot of I was surprised to even have you know, people that I never would have expected that would have reached out and say, hey, I saw your video and I just want you to know that I'm proud of you. You know, it's just remarkable to get that feedback, to know that other people are watching it. Parents actually said, wow, I would never want mine to go through this. Thank you, Star.
Yeah.
And it just gives me hope. But, you know, I just want people to understand that it's not just about me wanting my hormones or a trans woman wanting to start her hormones. No, it's about beyond that. It's changing the laws, the outdated laws and beliefs that infringes on our human rights, basic human rights. Because there are landlords that will not rent to us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, the minute they find out that we're trans, or you know, a cis person is living with a trans person, that's a no-no. And you know, so we experience a lot of discrimination when it comes to housing, to jobs, education, even going to a supermarket. You know, the person that would spray your hand now, because they spray your hand when you go into a supermarket, they're like, are you a male or are you a female? Like, why? I just came to buy groceries. How is that any of your business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the main goal of the organization, the trans organization right now? What are you working towards?
Definitely raising awareness about the trans community, which is very new. And also working on gender recognition policy for this year. That's my main goal. And just having a community free of, a trans community free of stigma, discrimination, and violence.
Yeah.
That's our main goal, for us to live.
All right. Star, I find it for me, one of the things that I'm hearing, because I'm listening to you very clearly, along with Dr. Pot, you did mention that within the region, it's much more tougher. Yesterday was tough for you as well, but you actually are seeing a ray of hope because people are now recognizing you, and they're being, not necessarily, I don't want to use the word lenient, but they actually recognize that who you are. Would you, especially for those who are hiding behind because they're so afraid to come on out, would you say that tomorrow would be a better day for them, being that you've seen a little bit of hope? You did mention that you once lived in the park.
I'd like to say to anyone out there that is struggling that I see you, I acknowledge you.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to be a part of this movement, of this fight. Because my fight is your fight. It's our fight. And you're not alone.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's deep. Dr. Pot, final words are yours with respect to this conversation. I mean, it's a very touching one. What are your thoughts?
Well, like I said, I've been treating Star for a while, and I've heard all the stories, and so I'd just like to encourage my colleagues that when you're treating anybody, don't look, it's not about a gender or if they're trans, if they're gay, HIV, you're treating a person. We took an oath, and we're supposed to just, know that this is somebody that needs our help, that we can make the world a better place by simply being compassionate and understanding and respectful of your fellow human being.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. And just lastly, how can people, if they're looking for support, whether they're an ally or whether they just want to talk to someone, where do they go, Star?
Yes. So on Facebook, I'm under Facebook as Star Reyes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm open to anyone reaching out. And also there's Tia Believes. It's also on Facebook. So just type in Tia Believes and the information will pop up. And thank you so much for having me.
Well,
Been an
thank
honor.
you. Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
It's so important that we hear just the different experiences that people have. And thank you, Dr. Pott, as well, for stepping up and also speaking out on behalf of the medical community. We do appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Best of luck and stay safe.
Best of luck to both of you.
Thank you.
All right. We're about to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be showing you how to create an arrangement of chocolate-covered strawberries for your mom. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
If we are only as strong as our families, businesses, institutions, and the communities that surround us, then by giving businesses the power to grow, entrepreneurs the ability to expand, and by giving our families the right to own something, the Belize Bank gives you the power to build a nation, our nation. We are stronger together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
It's a fact that with Smart, you get truly unlimited everything. Only with Smart, you get unlimited data anytime. While with the other guy, it's only double data on weekends. With unlimited data every day with Smart, there's no need to wait. So, it's a fact that our unlimited plans beat the competition. Stop being measured and told when to use your data and get unlimited talk, text, and data. Experience the true unlimited plans with Smart. That's a fact. Make the switch and live smart.
2020 taught us the importance of being connected to the virtual world, and NextGen is here to keep its commitment to you. Even if you're physically apart, NextGen keeps you digitally connected.
Okay everyone, thank you for following me today.
NextGen provides more than just an internet plan. They provide service plans that support all your online needs. Sign up today and get your NextGen's ultra high-speed internet service. NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
Hello Belize. You may not be aware of the new travel requirements set in place by the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. Passengers traveling to the U.S. must present a negative COVID test or a documentation of having recovered from COVID-19 to travel to the U.S. In light of this, Maya, in partnership with Caring Hands Clinic, have established testing centers in all their municipal airports. Caring Hands Antigen Test Center is operational in San Pedro, Belize City, Dangriga, Placencia, and Hopkins.
These testing facilities are staffed by licensed healthcare professionals, including doctors, registered nurses, and nurse practitioners. Testing is done using Abbott Rapid Test devices that are FDA approved and made in the USA. The service is safe, fast, affordable, and the close proximity of the centers makes them convenient.
Walk-ins are welcomed, but appointments are encouraged. If you would like to make an appointment, please feel free to do so at
Make your appointment, get tested, and in 15 minutes, you can get back to your vacation.
Hola, Tony.
Hey, Kevin, ¿qué onda? ¿Qué pasa?
Nada, le vine a buscar porque necesito comprar más mercancías de vasos y platos desechables para mi tienda de comestible. Me estoy quedando sin esas cosas.
No, hombre, fíjate que desde el 15 de abril no puedo importar nada de eso. Y se me acaba de terminar todo lo que tenía hace como 3 semanas.
Oye, pero nunca has estado sin esas cosas. ¿Qué está pasando?
Mira esto. Esta es la nueva ley que prohíbe todo el uso de plásticos no reutilizables. Esos son vasos, platos, cucharas, tenedores, todo eso. Desde 15 de abril de este año no he podido importar nada de eso. A partir del 15 de enero del 2021 nadie puede fabricarlo. 15 de abril 2021 nadie lo puede vender. Y a partir del 14 de julio del 2021, si alguien te agarra con eso, te multan.
Híjole, no sabía eso. Necesito cambiar algunas cosas. Les diré a mis clientes por qué esas cosas ya no están disponibles. Gracias, Antonio.
Así es, cuídate.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Andrea Polanco, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 police teams do whatever it takes. Go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 believes on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time. And so are we.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a new coronavirus introduced to humans for the first time. It is spread from person to person, mainly through the droplets produced when an infected person speaks, coughs, or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby. These droplets are too heavy to travel far in the air. They only travel approximately 1 meter and quickly settle on surfaces. This is the reason person-to-person spread is happening mainly between close contacts. The exact time that the virus can survive on surfaces is not yet known. So it is wise to clean surfaces regularly, particularly in the vicinity of people infected with COVID-19. Hands touch many surfaces, which can be contaminated with the virus. You should therefore avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth, since contaminated hands can transfer the virus from the surface to yourself. When coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth and nose with the bend of your elbow or use a disposable tissue. If a tissue is used, discard it immediately into a closed bin. The most effective way to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus is to clean your hands frequently with an alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. This will eliminate the virus if it is on your hands. Stay healthy and prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Reduce your risk of viral illness like the flu or the coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water or with an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing or sneezing with a tissue. Throw away, then wash hands immediately. Avoid close contact with anyone who has the cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or nearest health center and share your travel history. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We're now moving into our third and final segment for the morning.
Right.
We're joined by Elsie Rosales. Now, Elsie is here to create what everybody loves and how you could create this wonderful, wonderful package for your mom. It's actually putting chocolates on fruits. Elsie, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
And how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
We're doing great. You're looking great. This is looking great. Tell us about your business.
Okay.
What's up?
Everything Elsie is just basically healthy fruits that caters to a beautiful basket. So you could eat healthy. Also, you could have something that's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we have dipped strawberries. If you can't afford to actually buy a dipped strawberry, because I'm not the only person that caters to this, I always tell consumers you could try a bag of Nestle, and you could heat it over the stove, because everybody don't have a melter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, you could create something at home for mom. I know we're going through a pandemic, so money is very tight.
Yeah.
So I would say buy a bag of Kisses, you melt it, you buy your strawberries from the market,
Yeah.
you wash it up and you dry it up, and then you just pick out which one you want,
Okay.
and you get dipping.
So let's find out. I mean, how did you get
your
into
business,
this?
Yes.
Okay, well, this is actually my anniversary.
Oh, wow.
Happy anniversary.
Well, Mother's Day is actually my anniversary. I've been doing this for 2 years now.
Okay.
Never knew that I would ever be doing this because this was never my idea. But tragedy happened, and I lost my apartment in a fire.
Oh, wow.
And like right after that, my job closed down. So I was homeless and I didn't have a job. So it was tough times, and I started to Google different little ideas, and I wanted to give a friend a gift. And I came across an edible basket, and I said, let me see if I could buy one. At the time, I couldn't afford it. The person that was doing it in Belize, and I said, let me make one.
Yeah.
So I Googled, and then I went to the market, and I bought everything, and I made the basket, and a friend of mine posted it, and it just like viral.
Wow.
And I literally said, you know what, maybe I can do this. This could be my thing.
Yeah.
And I started to make basket, and a friend of mine gave me a very big job around Mother's Day, like 2 years ago, and it never stopped. Everybody just keep calling, asking. It's been amazing. the outpour of love has been amazing.
Look at that.
Elsie, this is, I mean,
Look at
that's a
that.
phenomenal story.
Yeah.
Yes.
But were you, so you said you were working.
I was working, and then my job closed down, so I lost my job.
Were you a creative person? Did you see yourself as someone creative?
I would say, like, in the arts and craft department, like, if I give you a gift, I want to go all out. So buy bows, tissue papers.
Yeah.
But I always think I would be doing arts, not fruits.
Yeah.
But I guess the skill with the knives and stuff came into play.
Yeah?
Yes.
Wow.
Because besides, this is not really my talent. My talent is my actual basket.
Yeah, we see that.
You know, my edible baskets, my pine base, and then I added like the cheese platter to it. You can also get a bottle of wine. You could customize. It's a dream.
But
Elsie, so you went from being homeless,
Yes.
losing your job, to
Yes.
starting
Losing
a
a business.
Yes.
Yes.
How are you doing now?
Well, God is good.
Yeah.
Sweet, I like hear that. But it's actually called Everything Elsie.
Yes, because I do everything, and I can customize anything for you.
This girl, I swear. So what do people go for the most, Elsie? I'm
Okay.
loving your story.
Okay, the deluxe is a hit. That's the 2 pine base that's actually combined into a basket. So people really like fresh fruits, and everybody's trying to boost their immune system because
Yeah.
of this virus.
Yeah.
Also, it's very easy on the eyes and beautiful. And people are like, we like fruits, but I never know I like it so much now that you actually shape it out. So, you know, it's a beautiful gift, and it's
Yeah.
very healthy. So even myself, I enjoy fruits more now.
Wow.
Look at that. That's beautiful. So I guess you have a lot of orders from others there.
Well, I already have a lot of orders, but I am open for maybe 1 or 2 more days to take. That's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you got to get to the market.
Yes. Well, I already ordered the fruit. So.
So what can we find at Everything Elsie?
You guys can find uniqueness. I always say that. If you call me up and you say, hey, I love flowers and I love fruits and I love chocolate, please help me. I could actually make you a basket that has flowers, fruits, and chocolate.
Yeah.
So which female doesn't love flowers? And we love fruits. And we love chocolate.
So let's do them all together.
Let's do them all together. And if you don't like flowers, I say, hey, what? You like fruits? I can shape this fruit into a flower fruit.
At what point,
I
Elsie?
love that one.
Yeah. At what point did you make that breakthrough to say, you know what, I could really live off this?
I would say I had bills to pay, so regardless of whatever, I needed to do something.
Yeah.
And I had my kids, and when I realized the feedback then, I would ask people, like, just give me an honest opinion,
Yeah.
because my first basket wasn't where I'm at. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. It wasn't where I'm at, but it was a starter.
Yeah.
And the thing is with me, I practice my craft. So every time you order a basket, it's like I'm practicing it, to the point that when I realize that I don't actually need to look at my picture, I just create from my brain. I just create from my brain. So if you call me up, Marlene, and you're like, I want a pine base today, and if you have a typical picture that you want,
Yeah.
then I would go with what you do. Or if you say, girl, just do your thing, I just do my thing.
Sweet.
So the deluxe one, which is 2 pine base,
two
it's like
pine
a
base.
big basket of fruit.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So it's like, you see the mini pine base?
Mhm.
It's like 2 of that combined into 1, and then we wrap it up beautiful. And everything is, I always tell people, I am a one-woman show.
Yeah.
So I buy the fruits, I come home, I clean the fruits, I make the fruits, and if you need delivery, I have a special delivery guy that does it. So
Mhm.
I run the whole show.
Whoa.
Yes.
You run things, girl. So what are we
This
seeing
is a great
here?
bounce back story. And
Definitely.
during the pandemic, how'd it go?
Yeah.
The thing is, it's been amazing. That's what I tell people. I say, I thought I would have lost business, but my friends always promote me. It's always, oh, I have a friend that can do this. Like, they look out for me, and my regular customers are amazing.
Yeah.
So as I always say, God is good.
So there's still birthdays, and there was still
Yes,
Mother's
that's right.
Day, and there was still
The thing
anniversaries.
is, I mean, we have all different occasions, but every day is somebody's birthday.
Yeah.
Or every day somebody want to be
Anniversary.
like, I just want to send my girl something, but
Yeah.
I love her. Or something like that. We get a lot of just because, a lot of surprises, so it's been good.
Oh, there you go. Maybe you need to explain just because to some people. That's a new
Exactly.
concept for some.
That's just
Like,
because.
Do you know do you send just because,
Yes,
John?
of course we send just because.
Or thank you, or I'm sorry. We get a lot of those. So.
Because it's Tuesday, you know, because it's Wednesday.
Exactly.
So I noticed we've got some lovely stuff out here.
Okay,
so,
what we have here is some chocolate that's spelled out mom. So this is $15. So if you can't afford a big budget, you can actually buy something for $15.
Okay, now
Right, it's moving.
So I'll put it on the plate so we can show it
it.
properly.
And then also, if you wanted to customize it and be like, can you just garnish it up with a little fruit? We have garnish
hook that
here.
up too.
Yes.
All right.
So you were selling some chocolate-covered strawberries for as little as
$15.
$15. And it's nicely packaged. You can deliver to mom.
Yes.
And you also have these baskets too?
Yes, that's the heart tray. And you can also garnish it up. Normally the heart tray carries a dozen strawberry. If you would like to, a lot of people would like to add chocolate to it, like the kisses or different type of chocolate. They can do that too, and then you can also garnish it. Okay, so the chocolate here is ready.
Ready and ready.
So I would say get the plate.
All right,
Okay.
so let's put that back.
I'll put it back now.
Okay, and you can create one yourself.
Okay.
So the question is, so you offer these for sale if we don't want to do the work. This idea here is about being able, if people want to get something, do something at home for mom, this is an option. Now you have a special melter thing
Yes,
there.
I have a special melter, but everybody won't.
Yeah.
So I always tell people get like, you have a little pot. You could like heat up just a little bit of water, and you can add in your chocolate chips right at the top with a nice plate, but something more deeper.
Yeah.
And you just stir along. You let the water heat up the
the
stuff,
steam.
and that's what you can use.
So you put the bowl on top of the pot of
That's
boiling water,
yes.
and then you stir, you
add
melt
your
the
little-
chocolate in there.
and you melt and you stir. And normally I would
Because you can't just put the chocolate in a pot,
a
and
pot.
it's gonna burn.
Directly.
Completely.
Yeah, it's gonna burn.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
All right.
So what I would normally tell people is, first of all, we don't have our gloves here today, but normally beginners, and if you're dealing with people for food, you put on your gloves and you just dip a little. Normally we would have a parchment paper here, but we don't have today.
You put it closer, yeah.
So, and there we go.
Ooh. What type of chocolate can you use?
Normally I use the chocolate melters.
Okay.
And I order those in. But if you want to do it for mom, and you're not selling, of course, you could buy the Hershey's Kisses, or you could buy the melters. They provide it here in Belize.
Okay.
So you could buy that. They have white, they have dark, and like the melters comes in all different colors, so you could play around with it.
Sweet.
Okay, so you could take a strawberry from there.
Okay.
Of course.
And
Let me
you can
get
have
in
one
on
too.
this one here. So how do we?
So you just stick it very good in the middle,
Okay.
All right.
and then you could just dip it in.
All right.
One nice and salty.
I'm gonna rock a kiwi. Well, you already did a kiwi. Let me rock this kiwi.
Ooh, there we go. Good. And you have to leave it to harden.
Yes, you just leave it a little while.
Okay. What's a little while? Like a minute, two?
Give it 3.
All right.
And then it would be on a parchment paper, so you give it a little while, and then you could just put it in the freezer for like probably 5 minutes, and then you take it right out so it won't mess.
Yeah.
And then you package it how you like with a pretty little paper, and then you could just package everything. You could stick on your little stickers,
Yeah. And you did like extra drizzle on these ones, the
that's
texture.
when you use the bag, and then you could just put it in, and then you could drizzle a bit.
And then for the mom, what is
For
that?
the mom, you would use like a little stencil, and then you just fill it in, you put it in the fridge, you pull it out, and then you
Oh,
pop
this
it
is
out.
chocolate too?
That's white chocolate, yes.
Sweet.
Yes, that's white chocolate.
All right.
So it's something like this. If somebody would say, okay, could you just pretty it up with the fruits?
So you garnish
So
the fruits
you
too.
garnish it, yes. You garnish it with fruits.
So they get extra fruit.
Yes, you garnish it with fruits so everything looks really nice. So when you're giving a gift, you only give the best, right?
Of course.
Exactly.
Moms are so special. You got to make sure it's something nice.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you can't do it like this, you can buy it. But I always tell people, you could do it at home too. You know, if you're on a budget and you can't afford it and you want to get your mom something really nice,
Yeah.
you could do it. So there you
look
go.
at that.
And it's a healthy choice, man.
It's a healthy choice.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And then you could pack it like that, and there you go.
Sweet.
And it has Happy Mother's Day from everything Elsie. Look at
Aw, cute.
Yeah, it does add so much more.
It gives it a oof.
Yeah.
Colors to it.
Yeah, and then some people will be like, oh, girl, I have a sweet tooth, so could you knock out the fruits and just put some more chocolate? So
A little flour
you
in
can cater
between.
to that too, exactly.
Oh, fantastic.
Elsie, you man, you rock, I swear.
I have to come back and show you guys how to make a pine beef.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah,
I
we
have to
definitely
come
will
back
get you
and-
back.
And then I have to have you guys cut it out and actually assemble it.
But you also have another equipment here, and I say an equipment because this looks like you put chocolate in there to decorate.
And drizzle. Would you like to try it?
Sure.
Well, this one is fancy. You could use Ziploc bags at home.
Yes.
So you should know that, yeah.
Scissors, though.
So let's.
I'm
all
not
right.
sure if we have a scissors here.
We don't have a scissors
don't?
handy.
Okay,
yeah.
well, we're going to have to do it another time.
Another
but
time, okay.
What you would do is you take the little bag
Mhm.
and you would fill it up with chocolate
Mhm.
like this.
Mhm.
And you just make sure you get everything
To
down.
the bottom. Yes.
And of course, we'll fill more, but
Yeah.
since we're just showing, then you turn it and you just work with your good hand and you go and that's it.
And you have a chocolate
Consistency.
drizzle.
And then also, if you're very creative with your hand, you could play around. You could do mom, you could do heart.
Yeah.
Yes, you could do all of that. So
Elsie,
my
you-
Lenny one
Yeah.
looks like it's almost ready. If it was in the fridge, it would have been ready.
Mhm.
See? And
Yeah,
that's
that,
how
that
it
one is ready. Yeah.
And then you can take it off the stick by then, yeah.
And you could actually taste it. So go ahead.
I am so ready for tasting. Did you say chocolate? That's
Yeah.
easy.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna try too.
And give us your opinion.
I'll try the kiwi that
I mean, it's fruit and chocolate. You can't go wrong.
It's amazing.
No, my
So
friends
when you
like
guys
to say
really?
chocolate, yes.
Oh, your one is still dripping. But
Sorry.
for a really
Sorry.
good taste, I love my stuff cold.
I love the chocolate.
So I would put it in the fridge and I will pop a glass of wine
Yeah.
and you put on that nice movie. And or it's like, Mother's Day, you cook dinner for your mom and then this could be the dessert.
And you bring this out. It's going to
you-
be a big wow factor.
Exactly. So your first try, how is it?
It is delicious. The chocolate is good. Yeah, that makes a big difference
It
as
does,
well.
it does.
Yeah.
It does.
It's syrupy, like it complement each other.
It does.
I've heard about that so many times.
But you never
but
tried it.
Never tried it till now.
And the first time I used to make this, I never tried it.
Really?
I know everybody's like, you don't taste it. I said, I don't because I don't really like chocolate that much.
Join the club,
But
but
I tried it and I have to stop because I'm going to eat up my product. It's that good. I mean, it sells itself. It's really good.
yeah. So Elsie, where can we find you? What can we do to get some arrangements?
Okay, you can find me on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, Everything Elsie. I conduct my business through that. Also on my telephone number, which is posted on the business.
Okay.
I am located right now at West Street. I do deliveries and you can do pickup.
Okay.
So if you would like to get in an order, you can just hit me up on my Facebook page.
All right.
All right. Well, Elsie, thank you for coming in and showing us
thank you.
just how easy it is.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to coming back.
And
All
it's
right.
a great family activity.
It
Dads and
is,
kids,
yes.
make them
It
for your
is.
mom.
I'm actually thinking about doing a little package that I cater all of this, and you could do it yourself.
Okay, that sounds
So,
good.
mom, grandmas, dads, everybody can get into it.
Yeah.
A lot of dads are at home and they like getting involved too. So
Of
you could do
course,
this with
of
your
course.
girls.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course. Love it. Love
So
it.
it's a great bonding experience doing something nice for mom.
And it is fun.
It is.
Elsie, thank you so very much. It was
Thank you
nice
guys
having you in
so
with us
much
this morning.
too.
All right, so we're about to take our final break of the morning, and when we come back, we'll be wrapping things up. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
In these challenging times, the one thing that is certain is that the Belize Bank Limited is here for you. There is nothing more important than your health and safety, and we continue to make every effort to make banking safer for you. Our staff is working around the clock to make sure you can do your banking conveniently 24/7 using our mobile banking app and online banking and keeping ATMs up and running. We value your relationship with us and are here to provide the support you need. First responders are also out there 24/7. Thank you, healthcare workers, security forces, firefighters, caregivers. You are all appreciated. Stay safe. We will get through this together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
Hello Belize. You may not be aware of the new travel requirements set in place by the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. Passengers traveling to the U.S. must present a negative COVID test or a documentation of having recovered from COVID-19 to travel to the U.S. In light of this, Maya, in partnership with Caring Hands Clinic, have established testing centers in all their municipal airports. Caring Hands Antigen Test Center is operational in San Pedro, Belize City, Dangriga, Placencia, and Hopkins.
These testing facilities are staffed by licensed healthcare professionals, including doctors, registered nurses, and nurse practitioners. Testing is done using Abbott rapid test devices that are FDA approved and made in the USA. The service is safe, fast, affordable, and the close proximity of the centers makes them convenient.
Walk-ins are welcomed, but appointments are encouraged. If you would like to make an appointment, please feel free to do so at Make your appointment, get tested, and in 15 minutes, you can get back to your vacation.
Currently, we're using Smart Elite VoIP calling plan. We use it interbranch, we use it to call outside, and we also use it to call international. It's far cheaper than what we used to have before. Our equipment, our new PBX box is new. So the PBX is very good because I can call to my Sartaneja branch, I can call to my Kikaka branch, I can call to San Pedro branch, and there's no cost using the PBS. Actually, right now, since we're in different locations, I can call main office from where I am at a no cost using the PBX system. I would recommend it, sure I would, especially the big enterprises who has a lot of employees. There's a lot of reduction in costs, 50% of saving. But that on a year, it's a lot of money that we're saving. Money that we could return to our members, since we give back dividend to our members.
Visit our showroom or call 670-6710 to find out how Smart's corporate plan and PBX systems can benefit your business. Consultation is free.
Just like that, we have got to go. It was an excellent time spending with you this morning. We shared with you information, and of course, every day we learn from you as well. We're so glad that you could open your eyes and starting your morning right with us this morning. If you've got any questions, any concerns, you could drop us a line at
Hawaii@channel5belize.com.
Hawaii@channel5belize.com, like it just went blank there. You could also catch us on Facebook at
Open Your Eyes BZ.
And you could also check us out on Instagram at OYE Belize. You could join us again tomorrow when you open your eyes
to start your morning right.
And as per usual, keep your eyes, your minds,
and your heart open. We'll see you soon. Enjoy your day, Belize.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.